That's it, game over.
Yeah,
Not entirely.
and that's
the beginning.
one of these 12 steps was that, the muhasabah, discovering, and they go through everything, and eventually they think, actually, it was this. And maybe the answer was, I just need to forgive my dad, or I need to forgive this brother, or whoever, and let go of that trauma.
So here we're talking about like serious addiction. It's
Yeah,
not like,
yeah.
so by the way,
Serious
stuff.
addiction that basically, it takes over their lives.
Oh, that time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they might need to go to work. Instead of going to work, they're on the home and the internet.
Oh, that time.
That type of stuff. But really, a person might think, oh, mine's not that bad. I'll just do it on the weekend. You're on a slippery rope there, mate. Because they both got the same problem.
Yeah, but what
And some of them escalate to...
Can't be a
They escalate to really bad stuff. Like, they'll... the normal stuff not enough for them. And then they'll start going... They'll go to children.
But just as a for I think perhaps the majority or the average Muslim youngster, like in this country, I don't know, I haven't seen the statistics, but I wouldn't have thought it's all that bad. It's usually just things passing or posters or movies or...
No, mate.
It's gone that worse.
Yeah,
You just got to look at the care. Kids that go into care home come from broken homes, abusive homes.
Yeah.
There's a lot more happening for Muslims in those kind of care homes due to the fact of abusive parents.
Yeah.
And other abusive, like how you was talking about, like to that level. It's not what you're seeing like movies and all that. Now it's gone to another level of addiction, especially for youngsters.
Huge problem, man.
It is.
We're just
So, you mentioned parents. Only the other day, we were saying that just like we have youth centers, we should have like parent centers, because the thing is that they've got really nothing to support them. In fact, they have a lot of the negative compared to youngsters. I think youngsters can escape here and there, but parents can't. And majority of these cases that some of these social workers that speak to, it seems to be the fault of the parents.
A lot of them are.
Parents are just like tyrants, and
Parents need training. But problem is,
broken homes.
and this isn't just a problem in
That's
Muslims,
what-
It's not just a problem in Muslims, it's just unfortunate.
Some of them live a double life, actually.
Hmm?
Some of them live a double life.
Yeah.
Although some of them might be having parent problems, but sometimes it's society that got into it.
That's
So
right.
they're living two separate lives at home. They're all hunky-dory good in front of parents, but when they go out, they completely change.
But here's the question though: why are they going out and doing that thing then? That's the question you got to ask. Like, why did this person learn to go out and do that thing?
Want
If
to
it's not-
escape in it? You want to escape in it?
Yeah, but why? Exactly.
You want to escape?
From what?
Not a happy home.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's always
happy at home.
They're around.
yeah, but
happy
this
at
what I'm
home.
saying. It always comes back to where you live. If your home's like everybody knows in Islam, if your home is your home, and it's where where the deen is made, and where all the Islamic aspects are implemented in you. Now, if your house doesn't have that, then you're going to find some sort of escape from somewhere, aren't you?
You've met plenty of people, gangbangers, right?
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean. Yeah. You've had friends.
Yeah.
How many of them would you say have had a how many of them actually wanted to go home? Put it that way.
These people who's got
I don't know any of them. I know some. They didn't want to go
the
home.
heads of masjid and their children are strayed out. So obviously
There's a problem somewhere.
They'd rather face a guy with a gun putting a gun on his forehead on the streets than go home and face their dad and knocking him out. Because it hurts more when your dad's knocking you out.
Because there's psychological
There's
thing there, superiority, inferiority complex.
it's more that kind of abuse is more emotional abuse, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
that kills people.
it's like you can have the strongest man in the world kill anyone and everyone, yeah. but he can't go to his dad to get shouted at or get beaten
Yeah.
at.
Like, you got this kid, yeah, and the kid's like, oh, you know what? I go home, my dad, you know, see all these friends, they talk about their dads, yeah, the dad's this, that, the other. Go to my dad, I go home, if I tell my dad I've got this problem, he calls me a coward, or he calls me this, he calls me that.
Belittle.
So I could give you
You
examples.
know what I mean? There are loads of them in our community.
Mm.
There's a brother on King's Road who got locked up for drugs. Yeah, a young kid. They found drugs in his wherever, and a gun and all this type of stuff. Yeah, everyone thought his dad's a great guy, but I came to know some other stuff about his dad.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah. He was actually proud that the police arrested him.
Mm.
I came to know about some other stuff about that person's dad. But you
It's
know,
it's like this one story. This guy went to mosque and he was getting beaten by the Staj. I mean, like proper getting beaten, but he was laughing at him. Right, why he's getting beaten, and then one of the guy goes, "Why was you laughing at him for?" Because this is nothing. When I get home, my dad locks me up. When locks me up in a cupboard if I'm really bad to him and beats me up. This is nothing. This is what I'm saying. This is
you know, brother. We call him Hassan. You're from Accrington.
Mm.
He used to study here. Do
yeah,
you remember? So he was saying in Accrington, one of his friends, he was like, what can I do? You know, what should I do? He was just getting people's advice. The situation was that this young boy, his parents would lock him up in the cellar. Both of them would, and then they both take turns being up. He asked me what to do. I said, call the police.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
said, you don't think twice about it. Them type of people, they don't deserve to have a child.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Not in that state. But if they fix themselves and
Should've
address
told
their
me, I
own
would've gone
issues,
downstairs. I would have gone there myself.
yeah, but if
took
they,
him out. Took his
but-
parents out, given them. a
but it's the
beating,
same
at
type of
same
thing
time.
again. Now we're going back. These same people, these parents, they've got trauma as well.
Mm.
They've got issues. They're taking it out on their kids, and they're not brave enough to recognize it themselves and go and do something about it. And then at the
It's
same
just,
time, we as a community don't have any networks where they can come to somebody in a trustworthy environment and get help.
I'm gonna add something to this. I want to.
They should go to the Jewish community in Prestwich. They'll help them more.
Mm.
Send me the link.
Yeah,
You know, laugh at this. I watch a lot of forensic files, and there are a lot of psychologists. When they look at all these, let's just say, famous serial killers like Ted Bundy and all these sorts of people, they look at what happened in the past for them to become monsters. And a lot of the things come back to parenting. They were abused as children, they were tortured and punished, and then when it comes to looking for something, that's where they act it out. They
Mhm.
grow up, they start experimenting.
Mm-hmm.
First it's pets, animals, then it's
Anyway, away from dark matters. Brother Ali, how you doing?
Alhamdulillah, brother. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
How are you, brother? Good face.
Nice to see you.
Brother, in regarding of, if you allow me to say something about, this like very, I like to call it a bit more extreme word
Yeah.
in infestated
Mm.
stage of our family issues, stage of ummah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, one day, Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, he sent one of the boy, Ghulam, in the masjid. He said, we are ready to pray. Go find Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, because their houses was very obvious. He said, go find Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wherever he is. Tell him the jama'ah ready. We're waiting for him. Liya'imma bina, for him to come. So this kid, he went like door, he's running to find Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He find him. And find him in the house. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said to this boy, he said, go tell Abu Bakr, radiallahu anh, said, go tell Abu Bakr, liya'im, for him to become imam, and tell him, I am not leaving this home before I fix this problem here. A collapse of one house, one family in my ummah, collapse of all my ummah. Brother, I'm sure the people we're sitting here, the brothers, each of us, we have plenty things to say, okay? Plenty experiences, plenty experiments, plenty issues and matters witnessed and heard here and there. and it's never gonna end. Keep talking about things, but what is really needed to be done? Nice thing you mentioned, but is there any activity, any steps, any dedication of these young people's mind, energy to put into things might will get somewhere, which is, now you mentioned about Jews, huh? Why don't we do it? And this thing is used to have in the Ottoman Caliph. There's a book like 2,500 page of Ottoman's collapse, about how Ottomans be collapsed. And one of the factors says that the enemies of Ummah, it didn't hit Ottomans from one angle. They hit Ummah from like spider web from every angle. And one of the part of it, one of the angles was family structures. How can we hit that? How they hit it? It says that in the Ottoman Caliph, Khilafah al-Uthmaniyya, they used to have a branch of government. They're responsible of licensing marriage. No one can go to Imam Nikah, which is, if we're talking nowadays, they made a mockery of marriage. Okay? Say they used to go to this department, their council, and they have to pass certain exams, certain interviews, both couple, so they will be certified, they will be licensed to get married or not. And in those tests, in those exams, let us say whatever interviews, what was there? They have to pass. Says the Ottoman Caliph is one of the successes, the great successes was they wouldn't allow wrong people to get married to the wrong people, okay? Because they know one wrong marriage, one wrong example, it will infestate, like disease,
Spread like an
epidemic.
infectious disease.
It will cause a epidemic because others will copy, will say, oh, this happened, let me do it. It says everything has to be in the control to have a successful, healthy family environment, family structure, so you have a successful khilafah. You see that Rasulullah sallam, when he said that, and how the Khilafah al-Uthmaniyya, how they take everything such seriously, and they dedicated, they made a such branch and department in the government to take care of this matter. And nowadays, like you mentioned, this generation nowadays, people, they live in the mercy of Allah Ta'ala. We see many people we come across on the street, they're healthy, they're surviving, and if we just look at their background, where they come from, what sort of family they've been brought up in, and we just think of, Ya Rabbi, everything is by your mercy. Otherwise, if we take in calculation what you're mentioning, there is certain families, unfortunately, certain people, they take in a position of father, position of mother, they're not worth it to be called father. They're not worth it to be called mother. So the ummah, it is lacking this part of which to be taken care, and people need place to go, to complain, to seek solution. Otherwise 80% of our generation, they ended up in the shisha bars, on the streets, in the social infestating media networks. Okay, why? People, they find all closed, blocked doors, where to go, and shaitan is there waiting for this weakness, and shaitan is manipulating almost like in every house, in every family. Unfortunately, brother, we it's easy for us to sit and talk, but our Muslims, our young, passionate young people, do we really able to put their attention and focus into really constructive things to do, or just few zikr and few salam alaikum, alaikum salam, and they go away with some sweet in their pocket? Like Erdogan mentioned in one of the, like he always mentions, he says to Arabs, he said, okay, we gathered, we said, we agreed, we wrote, we put deadlines, we wrote things to do. What you gonna do next? Are you gonna just go home and we finished, we had nice meal here and taking pictures? Which is, inshallah, might Allah Ta'ala would trigger in some point, we the Muslims, we need some
We need these networks.
Sorry?
So we need these type of networks we're talking about. Yeah, these places set up where people can go and manage themselves. Right. So